Howdy, y'all. Welcome back to the Minifantasy series. Today, we're going to talk about my core features for the game and my design ideas with the game. And we're going to go into my day one progress, which is one procedural generation, which is something that I've never done before. So let's get into it. So let's talk about what we want to do. So I've kind of been crafting in my brain a little bit, and I've kind of decided that I want to build an RPG with the Minifantasy set, and I want to have a strong focus on freedom, action, exploration. This is pretty standard with all RPGs. So I don't even know why I wrote this here. It kind of doesn't make sense. But I want to take heavy inspiration from primarily Terraria, a game like Necess and Core Keeper. Those are for the top-down 2D aspects, but really from Terraria, because I think Terraria is like the greatest game of all time. I want to put an emphasis on boss-based progression, similar to a system like all three of these games, where you have to defeat a boss, and then once you defeat the boss, you access new materials, and with the new materials, you make new equipment, and then you go for the next boss, and then you go for the next boss, and then you go for the next boss, right? So that will be the gameplay loop. The gameplay loop will be, all right, let's get strong, fight boss, get strong, fight boss, get strong, fight boss, get strong, fight boss, until it's the end of the game or whatever. I have never worked with procedural generation before, so I wanted to make procedurally generated world. I want to have some prefabs, some handcrafted areas like towns or cities or something like that I can plug in and the player can enjoy. That way it's not all just random garbage. But yeah, I wanted to do procedural generation. Maybe with those prefabs we can even do some kind of procedural generation, so it's not the same town every time you see it. Maybe it's like this town has 4 buildings, the other town spawned with 6 buildings, whatever, I don't really know. That's for us to figure out later. This is where we kind of take a turn from Terraria, from the idea of Terraria. So Terraria has crafting and ARPG elements, right? They have modifiers on their weapons, they have damage types, they have, set bonuses, things like that. I want to make something like a basic ARPG, right? Like if you look at Diablo or Last Epoch, or even Path of Exile, I don't want it to be as in depth, obviously, because that was a system made by 20 people, and this is a system made by one person. But I want there to be an emphasis on crafting. I want you to craft your item, and then I want you to be able to play with it. I want you to be able to modify it, give it some bonuses, maybe risk some negatives coming into it. I want you to be able to truly build the way you play, right? So if you want to do, fire damage, you can have a bunch of equipment that encourages that. Or if you want to focus on a specific weapon type or a specific, ability. I don't even know how I'm going to do the combat system. Yes, I don't even know if we'll have abilities. But you know what I mean? The importance of this 5th bullet point is to allow the player to play however they want. That's all that matters. Build however they want. I don't want people saying, oh, the melee class is the most broken, I'm going to go melee no matter what. I want there to be freedom. I want there to be opportunity. I want there to be player control. I want the player to feel like they're involved. And obviously, more will be developed. Those are just the basic, very, very, very high-level pillars. These are the foundations of the game that I think I want to address. So now we've kind of talked about basic design that I wanted to take the game in, the direction I want to take the game in, generally speaking. Obviously, if I pitch that to somebody, nobody would buy, but the idea is there. So now I want to kind of show what I've done. So I've worked a little bit. I've done basically, a day of development. So we're going to go over my day one progress, my goal for day one was to get some procedural generation down. So I decided to go into 3 biomes in the beginning so we can have some world variation. So those biomes are obviously in this asset, in the pack. The Minifantasy Forgotten Plains, this is going to be our generic grassland starter biome. You know, very peaceful, very relaxed, very chill. The player gets used to how the game works. There aren't going to be a lot of dangerous enemies. It's going to be pretty relaxing. Pretty nice. The player is probably going to build their base or, you know, their hub in this area. And then I went ahead and wanted to do a silent swamp as well. This will be, of the 3 biomes that we have right now, this will be the intermediate biome. So this will be the second biome that the player explores. And we've got, you know, kind of a gloomy atmosphere. It's not particularly scary or boss-like. Like, if you enter the swamp, you don't expect to fight a boss, but you expect there to be some challenges. Maybe some things are not what they seem, blah, 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 blah. You're a little more on edge, a little more aware. There's a certain degree of fear of fighting. It's threatening a little bit. Anyways, and then our third biome that I wanted to do is the Dark Forest. It's the ancient forest set in Minifantasy, but I'm going to call it the Dark Forest for the game. It's going to be this purplish hue. This is going to be, you know, if you walk into this Dark Forest, you're thinking, okay, something's not right here. Something's evil here, right? And that makes sense. So this is going to be, of the 3 biomes, this is going to be the end tier biome as of now. Obviously, of course, hopefully, I develop it long enough so that there's more than 3 biomes. But this is going to be the end tier biome. This is going to be the most threatening. You're going to need the most skills. We'll have bosses in both biomes. This one will be more of a mini boss, and then we'll try to have like the first real boss here. Yeah, this is going to be grim, dark, mysterious. Hopefully that's the vibe that I can create with this third biome. Those are the 3 biomes that we went with, or that I decided to go with. And now I want to discuss how we did the procedural generation. So we have this tile map behavior scene with a tile map script. The way that I did it, I mean, obviously, as anybody does it, is with noise maps. So we have 4 tile layers, ground, transitions. We're not really using this. I mean, I was experimenting with this, but I failed miserably. So, you know, we're just going to hold off on that. So really, we have 3 tile map layers. We have the ground, we have small props, and we have big props. That's just to add, you know, aesthetic into the scene. So of our tile map, we've got 4 noises. We've got the height noise. Okay, so all of these are generically the same noise. Simplex, smooth, 0.01 frequency. We do change, you know, I haven't particularly messed with this myself. I mean, I did some experiments when I was originally designing, but I just went with original. Once I develop the game more and I kind of understand how I want things to work, you know, I'll play with the frequency, I'll play with the fractals, you know, I'll try to tweak the development or the procedural generation to more match, you know, what I want. But for now, everything is as rudimentary, as primitive as possible. Everything is basic as hell. So we've got this, we've got these noises. We've got simplex smooth on literally all of them except, well, this one's also simplex smooth, but on this one, I did change the frequency to 0.35 just because I don't want there to be, you know, a wall of trees. I want there to be like trees here and there, movable, whatever. So we have our 4 noises here. We have the height noise. This is going to be to dictate land or water. We have the moisture. This is going to be for our swamp. The age. This is going to be for our dark forest. I probably could have done something other than age, but I was thinking world age, and the age of the forest. Whatever, who cares? And then we have our prop noise, which is, where we spawn props. We've got all of this. We've got our tile map layers here. We've got our seed initialization here. These are the potential tiles that could show up. So the way that this works is we grab this. Where's my master tile map? Whatever. Master tile set. So basically on this grass atlas, we're going to be using. Where am I? So on this grass atlas, the following can spawn into the grass biome. 1-1, which is this one. 3-1, which is this one. 2-3. What? Where's 2-3? Oh, I'm stupid. 2-3. 4-3. Bro, I'm having a stroke. 2-5. Are we for real right now? And 4-5. Okay, so basically this one, and then these four corners here. Those are the possibilities for the grass, and we've done the same for the swamp, and we've done the same for the dark forest biome, and water. There's also two waters here, so it could be one or the other. Transitions, again, I absolutely did not cook that up. That's something that I'm going to revisit, and we'll talk about things I'm going to revisit later. Array of biome tiles. So each time we pick a tile and we add a biome to it, we're going to append the tile to this array. I was using this for something, but I don't think I'm using it anymore. So honestly, this doesn't matter, but it's there for now. And then we have potential props. So if we go down to my props, we've got our potential props here. We've got trees, we've got flowers, and then for the swamp, we've got trees and little wreaths. I don't know. And then for the darkness, we just have a bunch of different types of trees and woods and things like that. So those are the props. We initialize them all here. Obviously, I think it would be better to have a separate database for all of this, because right now this is kind of just clogging stuff up. But anyways, on to the actual procedural generation. So here we get random seeds for all four of our noises. And then we apply the seeds to those noises. Oh wait, do I not apply prop seed? What am I doing, bro? What am I doing? Sorry. Noise.seed equals prop seed. Wow, so interesting. I completely never realized that in all of my testing. We set the biome sizing. This is experimental. We can play with the frequency a little bit. This is just so I can change, all of the biome sizing quickly. This is directly linked to the frequency here, right? We set a random number. We change the frequency to that number. Now we have our generate tiles. So after all of that is initialized, basically in the ready function, we do our generate tiles. So it'll sweep through the X and Y coordinates that we have predetermined here, map size. And for each one, which is basically each tile, it'll get all four noises: the height, the moisture, the age, and the prop noise. And then if the height is under -0.1, it'll spawn water. If it's greater than if the moisture is greater than 0.3, it'll spawn swamp, and yada yada yada. Dark forest if it's old enough, and then grassland is the default. And then as it sweeps through, it'll do this, right? So it'll make it swamp. This is the making it swamp here. And then it'll check the prop value. If the prop value is, positive but not particularly high, it'll do a small prop. If it's very high, it'll do a big prop, right? So basically that's how we do trees. And you can tweak these values to be, okay, I want more small props. Maybe we'll lower this to like 0.15 and we'll have a ton more small props, whatever. And we do the same for these other two. Transitions is nothing, blah, 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 blah. That was an experiment. So now let's see how it works. So if we run the scene, boom. That's kind of ugly. Let me run it over here so we can run around the world, because I have a player over here. Don't worry about the squirrel. So yeah, for each tile, it checks the noise. Okay, we have grassland, we have water. So we know that on the tiles with water, the height is less than 0.1, right, of the noise. And then we've got swamp, we've got dark forest, we have some random little props sprinkled throughout, some small props, some big props. Currently there's no collision, right? Oh, this is a cool little dark forest over here. This is a nice spawn. Oh, this is a great swamp too. That looks very good. This looks so good. So I'm kind of thinking, just looking at it now, I think larger biomes would just be better. Go ahead and I think, wow. Yeah, I think larger biomes are great because normally they're not that big. Let me show you, a couple more examples of how big the biomes usually are. Wow, we're getting some big ones. What the? That is not normal, right? Like normally they're like, wow, okay. I'm just kidding. Wow, this one goes all the way across the lake. Wait, that's dope. I really like that spawn. Anyways, just look at a couple more. Oh wow, we got a lot of low height on this one. Yeah, this is what I'm used to seeing in the biome sizing. This probably too. Yeah. So I'm thinking larger biomes would be cooler because let's say you're an adventurer and you run in here. How many mobs can we fit here? Maybe 3 or 4. Kill 1, kill 2, kill 3, kill 4, and then you're out of the swamp. That's not very fun. You want the swamp to mean something. So I'm thinking we'll make some bigger biome sizes just in general. Maybe let's do something like this. And of course, down in the comments, kind of suggest, what you think would be best. Or if you know of any way to do procedural generation, obviously I'm learning, right? So I don't know anything. If you are looking at my code and you're like, wow, how did this guy make it this far? This guy's an idiot. And you find something that, you could improve on. So the problem with that is it also makes grasslands bigger. And I don't want grasslands to be bigger. So I'll have to tweak it. I'll have to do some tweaking here and there. Yeah, we're not spawning a lot of them. Lower frequency is bigger biomes, right? No. Wait, did I confuse myself? Oh my god, I think I confused myself. Okay. Well, watching me learn live. Okay, this is great. This is great. So we have much bigger biomes. We can fit like a ton of mobs in this swamp here, right? 10 plus, and you'll still be in the swamp, really. Let's make it a little bit bigger, to be honest. Wait, no. I'm still trying to figure it out. Anyways, this is what the biomes look like. That's how I've approached the procedural generation for the beginning. Obviously, there are some very strong flaws that need to be addressed. So if you have any advice or have any recommendations, I am going to put some YouTube videos and articles that I found helpful in the description. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check those out. And let's talk about what's next for the procedural generation. So the next things that I want to do for procedural generation is I want to work on biome blending, right? So right now we just have these squares, right? It's very obvious where the biome starts and ends. It's kind of rigid. It's kind of ugly. I think biome blending, which is what I was trying to do with the transitions. So it's like breaking in and breaking around. But I mean, this has its own charm. So really, I'm not too sure about that. I think this looks fine. But one thing that I do want to work on is updated prop spawning, right? So for like this tree, you see how it's kind of in the swamp. And for this dark tree, it's kind of in the grassland and the swamp, which is, it's only supposed to be in the dark forest. It's more so for the big props, right? Like these are in the water and they shouldn't be. So some prop spawning needs to be addressed. Obviously I need to add tile map physics, so I can't walk through the tree. I need to show me hidden behind the tree when I'm behind the tree, and in front of the tree when I'm in front of the tree. I want each terrain, each tile. So I want, if you're walking on the swamp, maybe you're like 30% slower. If you're in the grassland, blah, blah, blah. If you're in the dark forest, whatever. I want the terrain to have modifiers on the character. So work on that. Props will overlap sometimes. I don't think we have any here. Oh, no, we do right here. So we have one here where a small prop spawn and then a big prop spawn, and it kind of just overrode itself. I need to fix those. Obviously, improve the generation so that we have, the correct size biomes and the correct vibes that we want. Ideally, larger maps. I need to work on performance, right? Ideally you can go forever and the map keeps spawning and maybe deloading other chunks, something like Minecraft. So I'll work on that as well. And now I'm going to give a little sneak peek, after we've talked about procedural generation forever. I'm going to give a little my headset just turned off. A little sneak peek of what's to come. So in the next episode, we're going to have squirrels. Look at these little guys. They're so cute. We're going to have squirrels. We're going to have other potentially dangerous creatures. And we're going to have, a very, very rudimentary combat system. So these guys will spawn in. The aggressive ones will try to get you and you'll have to fight them off. It's going to be very rudimentary. It's not going to be fun to play, but okay, something is wrong with that squirrel. I don't know what that was, but yeah, we've got little squirrels in here with us, and we've got a little guy, and I need to stop him from running when we're idling. So if you're interested in seeing what's to come, I'm planning each week, Tuesday. I'll see you then.